Alright, what I have inside this box is what I consider to be the key ingredient to building an extremely strong yet lightweight rooftop tent. Learned this technique a few years ago when I built my first canoe. It's definitely a must-have. I wouldn't start the project without it. So let's head into the shop and I'll explain everything you need to know. What's up guys, and welcome to my humble little wood shop. Really excited to finally get started on this project. I wanted to say, especially after the last video I put out, how much I now respect YouTubers. There's a lot more work that goes into this than I ever would imagine. It kind of seems pretty easy from the outside, or just watching the videos, but man, that took me a long time, and it kind of gave me a newfound respect for the people that do this like on a daily basis and a weekly basis. But yeah, I'm really excited about the project that we're about to get started on. Now, one thing that was really frustrating when I was building my tent was that I couldn't find a video of anyone who had built a rooftop tent. So I'm really excited to be one of the first to put a series together like this. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time. Just hadn't really felt ready. I wouldn't consider myself a YouTuber, so this whole process of making videos or videos like this is really foreign to me. So for the past few months I've been gearing up, trying to get ready, and I think I'm finally at a place where I'm ready to start this project. Now, we're not going to get into the actual build in this video. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about my plans for this series and then get into the tools and materials you're going to need to get started on this project. Now, my goal is to make a series of videos showing you guys how to build an affordable hard shell rooftop tent, and something that looks like you purchased it. These tents really aren't that hard to build. They don't require that many tools, and I want to show you guys that. I also really want this video to be a detailed tutorial showing you guys each step of the way. I don't want this to be about me or my skills or anything like that. I always think it's funny when you see a DIY project like on Facebook or Instagram that you really don't learn anything. There's no details, and the person doing the project has access to an unrealistic amount of tools. So I definitely don't want it to be like that. I want this video to give you guys the confidence you need to try this project for yourself. So we're going to start off by building a clamshell design tent, opposed to like a rectangular box style that y'all have seen in my previous video. I think it'll be a little more simple of a design, but I've never built one, so I'll be figuring this out as we go. Alright, let's talk tools. One thing I really want to stress in these videos is how few tools you really need for a project like this. Now, I'm obviously not saying to limit yourself. Definitely use all the tools that are at your disposal. I know that tools can be a limiting factor for some, so I think you might be surprised at what you can get away with in a project like this. So with that being said, let's get into the tools that you're going to need for this project.
First and most important are our ear and eye protection. You also want a respirator once we break out the sanders. You could probably get away with a screwdriver for this project, but a drill and a few bits will really speed things up. Along with your drill, you're going to want a bit that can drill pilot holes and countersink. I really like this bit because you can do both at the same time. The jigsaw is a very affordable and diverse tool that we'll definitely be using a lot. You're going to want a palm sander at the very least. We'll be doing a lot of sanding, especially during the finishing stages. Get yourself a staple gun with 1/2-inch staples. Not 100% necessary, but clamps can be super helpful. You're going to need a box or two of these 1 1/4-inch deck screws. An essential part of every woodworking project, wood glue.
Alright guys, now that you have your tools in order, let's talk about the lumber that you're going to need for this project. What you see here is everything you're going to need. Starting with the plywood, we have 3 4x8 sheets of plywood. We have 1 1/2-inch sheet and 2 1/4-inch sheets. Secondly, we have our 1x4s. These are pine 1x4s. We have 4 that are 1x4x8, and then we have 4 that are 1x4x6s. All these 1x4s with the 1/2-inch sheet will make up the whole bottom half of this hard shell tent. To make up the top half, that'll all be made out of pine 1x2s. These are all 1x2x8s. I have about 10 of them. I'm not really sure how many I'll need for this, but I got 10. They're not very expensive, so yeah. These 1x4s with the 1/4 inch plywood will make up the whole top half of the shell. One thing I want to stress when you go to buy your lumber is try to buy the best lumber that you can afford. It'll really make your project a lot better. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, there should be a section in the store that's like specialty grade or select grade or something like that. It's just going to be a nicer grade of wood. You'll definitely be able to tell the difference between this and like just your general lumber. But yeah, buy the best wood you can afford. It'll make the project a lot easier. Even with the plywood, I got the smoothest like cabinet grade plywood that I could get. I didn't do that with my first tent, and it made the painting process a lot harder because there was just lots of knots and cracks and gaps and things I was having to fill. So definitely get the best wood that you can get. Alright, it's time to talk about what's in this box and why it's so important. What I have in the box is 1.5 gallons of epoxy resin and hardener and a few other things. Now, a few years ago I built my first canoe and I learned a technique called stitching glue, and it basically held the entire canoe together and gave it its rigidity. And I thought it would be a great idea to use on a tent, and it worked great. So that's why this is so important. This is what gives your tent its strength. This is like welding for wood. It's really awesome. And I'm going to show you how to use all this stuff in detail, but it is really important. Now you could go with a different design that didn't use this, but it ended up being a much heavier tent. This is the key to building an extremely strong and very lightweight, and that's what we're going for. We're putting this on top of our vehicles, so the lighter we can get, the better. So let me show you a few other things that you're going to need. This is epoxy resin. This is the resin and hardener that I've got from Boat Builder Central. Now this is one of the more expensive things that you are going to purchase. This gallon and a half kit costs about $100, but it's important that you get the right stuff. Now I know what you're thinking. I can just go to Lowe's, Home Depot and get any kind of resin and hardener. I wouldn't suggest doing that. I actually did that when I was building my first tent. I got some like Bondo epoxy resin and hardener. It ended up being a huge fail. I was really just looking for the cheapest option out there. I didn't want to spend $100 on this, and but it failed. It failed horribly, and I ended up just wasting it. So I wouldn't do that. I would just, this is the stuff I've used. This is what I have experience with, and of all the different brands on Boat Builder Central, this is going to be the cheapest brand. You have to trust me on this one. I'm really trying to save you money, doing this project. And if I could figure out a cheaper way to do it, I would. But for now, this is the way to go. If anyone's used a cheaper resin and hardener, I'd love to know what it is. This is just what I've used so far. This is what I have experience with, and I really like the product. I decided to go with the medium speed hardener. With the first tent that I built, I was using a fast cure speed, and what I found was I ended up wasting a lot of product because the stuff cured so fast that I couldn't use it. I couldn't even apply it to the tent without it hardening up on me. So I had to make much smaller batches at a time to be able to use it. So decided to go with the medium speed. Hopefully that'll be slow enough to allow me to mix everything together and get it on the wood without it starting to harden up on me. So I would suggest, if you've never used this stuff before, to definitely go with the medium speed. The other things we have the epoxy resin and the wood flour. This is basically like super fine sawdust. These three items here are the main ingredients that you really need. Everything else you can kind of get anywhere. A few other things you're going to want to have are some mixing cups. These are ones from Boat Builder Central that have a few different ratios. All this is 1-to-1 ratio, so it's really simple. I also get a few of their mixing sticks. This is how you apply this stuff to the wood, like this. You can also use popsicle sticks. I always get a box of about 12 2-inch brushes. We're gonna end up kind of painting on some resin in some areas, so these are really important. I always get a box of gloves because you do not want to get this on your hands. And I also got a roll of fiberglass tape. I didn't use this on my first tent. I wouldn't say this is 100% necessary, but I am gonna try it on this one and see if I can add some strength in some areas. Alright guys, that's about it for this video. I hope it's been helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you plan on building your own rooftop tent. I'd love to see other people getting into this. Be on the lookout for the next video where we actually get into the build. And thanks for watching.